Hi everyone, hope you're doing amazing today. So, the subject we're going to tap into is simply me telling you that congratulations for making it today. Congratulations for waking up today to have open your eyes and get out of your bed and start breathing, inhaling, and exhaling in that world and having that awareness in our mind and those thoughts passing by and having making steps towards something. Just the fact of getting up, getting a cup of water is a lot. Just the fact of taking a shower is a lot. Of feeding ourselves is a lot. Sometimes we give ourselves so much pressure into how we are walking forward in this life that we forget how much value and fulfillment and success there is in the simple things. We have the amazing ability to see and project ourselves in the future. So, whatever goals we have in mind, whatever goals we want to accomplish, we will always see the step further, the step we are accomplishing right now. So, let's say you want to write a book, you will start the first page and you're gonna start thinking about the whole chapter and then the whole book and the whole way you're gonna sell the book and how people are gonna receive the messages, and then it's gonna be a part two. Like every time we accomplish a steps, we can project ourselves in the future, which is a good skills to have, and we are all grateful to have the ability to anticipate what's next. But at the same time, we can be so focused on the end goal or in the finish line that we are not even appreciating the steps we took just today by being alive one more day. Because to be honest, if we're not taking at least the steps to have the right to breathe tomorrow, what's the point, right? What's the point of having a goal? What's the point of holding so much expectation on something we're not willing to stay alive for? So, whatever we do every day to make ourselves be alive is worth being celebrated, is worth being put forward, and we should be able to sit into what we just did and clap for it like we accomplished the biggest thing that we are picturing only happening in the future. If we go into like another way of thinking, like time doesn't exist, and we are removing that linear perception that we have a time, everything happened now. Like the moment you're experiencing right now is the only moment that truly exists. The moment that just passed doesn't exist anymore. The moment that's gonna be coming is not coming as it comes. So when we accomplish something, if we allow ourselves to be able to celebrate the little things that bring to something, and we can realize that everything we have now was in a past, something we were dreaming about and we thought was impossible and we were excited to experience. But now that we are in that moment and we want to experience something else, we tend to never take the time to be in gratitude of what is happening right now in that moment and all the abundance that we have created just by being ourselves, just by navigating our body and soul into this world. All that have been attracted to us just doing that. So when I look at myself 5 years in the past, there's so many things that I have now that I didn't have then. But sometimes because we are thinking of the fact next year, we're not even having the time to really enjoy the what we have accomplished. And this is in the big scale, but even in the small scales, let's say you thought, okay, I have to do the dishes today, and you had that in your to-do list, and you end up doing it. Just that itself is worth being celebrated because you had a thought, you had an intention, and you made it happen. That's all life is about. It's about creating things, experiencing things. And even the smallest things that seem so like, oh, well, I need to do that or I do that every day, it is a step forward into bringing more into what you seek. It is one step more of practicing what you preach. Is it one step more keeping promises to yourself and having a deepest relationship with yourself, and that's going to transcend on your relationship with everybody else. So if you can keep that promise to yourself, like let's say that you're going to do your bed tomorrow and then you do it, that's the biggest accomplishment in that moment. You set it in the past and you make it happen in the present, you should be able to enjoy that moment. And the more we practice enjoying those little things, the more we can actually enjoy when we get into those big milestones of accomplishment. And it doesn't last just 1 second and we are already thinking of what's next, because that's human nature. I don't know when it stopped that we don't want to grow anymore or don't go for something bigger and better for ourselves. But until it does, we still gonna strive for something greater for ourselves. And because of always that striving and anticipation, we get disconnected most of the time with all we have in the moment. And if it doesn't look like what we seek in that exact instant, we feel like the moment right now is less worthy of being enjoyed than something in the future, or maybe less worthy of being enjoyed than something we did in the past. We make it seems like the moment is not worth being appreciated. And this is where we have everything wrong, because the only moment that always matters, the only sense of moment that you can actually experience is the now. You can truly feel alive only in the now. You can see all the aliveness of your body, of your spirit, of your mind, only in that moment right now. So when we have that portal of like all emotion but magnetized time infinite, because it's actually action, is actually right now. It's not just a thought, it's not just a memory, it's actually existing and materialize in momentum and movement and vibration in the moment, in this moment. The more we can allow this moment becoming the focus point of everything we attracting or going for in life, the more we can be grateful, and the more effortless life is, and the more joy we can find in every single little things. We like to compare the value of our work or the value of our action or value of our effort in comparison with other people, in comparison with like mainstream belief that this is how much you should put forward every day, or in comparison to our own sense of like what is good or predictive to ourselves, when there's not really such thing. If everything is did with the right intention, it has as much value. If you're really doing what you believe is right, it has as much value as somebody else that believes something else is right. Because the core of any manifestation and creation is that in that universe is belief. Whenever you believe is whenever you're gonna experience. And that's why we cannot judge other people or compare one another, because we don't have the same foundation of belief. So something that can work for somebody else really good won't work for us, and something that will really work for us won't work for somebody else. And we cannot just fight and try to like prevail with our own way to make us feel better. Like if it works for us, why we have to prove it to anybody else, or why we have to sell it to anyone? Like we just can live our life like that and it works for us. And if it's inspired people, good. But if not, we should be confident that we have the awareness to know what works for us or not. So staying in that moment, and every little moment, like taking a journal and writing for 10 minutes and realizing I did that today. And it's one more time that I did it in my whole life and experiences life. So it all adds up. Even if sometimes life can feel like repetitive and cyclic, and like we can pass a whole week doing the same thing and it feels like we're not going anywhere, it's still compiling somewhere, and it's still gonna crack somewhere, positively or negatively, depending on the habit you're compiling. allowing to celebrate the fact we made it today. We did something with our day, and whenever in what category that fall up, it is nurturing and in alignment with how we're feeling now. And if we can allow every action we're doing to be in completely transparency with how we feel, we will have even more awareness of what we feel inside and how we should maneuver our energy towards a day, towards a week, towards a month. And not just fit ourselves unrealistic goals every day and feel drained or feel anxious because we attach so much work into the action and the hustling and the forcing things to happen than the flowing part of it. There's a lot of flowing in life. It's like being in a boat in the middle of the sea. Like you can paddle as much as you want. If the universe decides to throw winds at you, you're gonna find yourself somewhere else. And all that paddling with one thing in mind will have been like not necessary, right? You could have just paddle at your pace when you feel like it and just find yourself being projected to that direction with awareness that this is the direction that you want to go. But sometimes when we're not allow ourselves to like balance it out, we just go to one direction without seeing all the opportunity and possibility and abundance that can have in different corners. And if we just take the time to slow down and see what's going on inside out. So the message, the overall message, okay, for today's video is to congrats yourself to have made it another day and to congratulate yourself for every single things that you do, even the smallest one, even the fact of like changing side of your pillow at night or doing your bed or getting a glass of water, of taking a shower or going for a walk, or really little simple little thing that we often take for granted because we don't feel that they had value or they're not bringing us closer to our goals when they are all part of keeping promises for ourselves, feeling confident in ourselves, and building gratitude in the moment to attract anything you want. So like that, when that big thing is gonna happen, we will have been practicing being happy for little things, so it will be better. It will be good for us to be happy for a good thing, for a big thing. But if we're never grateful and we're always looking for the next thing, even when that big thing happens, we're gonna be like, yeah, and then we're gonna be into something else. Never truly satisfied, always seeking the next thing to get validation. When, in fact, there's nothing outside of us that's gonna validate us. There's nothing outside of us that's gonna bring our joy, fulfillment, security. Like all of this are inside belief that we have to be completely confident that when we were made into that world, we were made with all those things already. We have nothing to prove to anyone. If we think about it, if you were just born and you had no construct, no conditioning, no society to tell you what's good, what's not, do you really think that naturally you will have find those occupations to do or those things to provide for yourself? I feel if I go with my basic logic, the only thing we will have been aware of is that sometimes we are hungry, so we have our stomach that's feel empty and we want to ingest something in it, thirsty, sleepy, and I don't know the rest, horny sometimes. So that would be like kind of the basic of how we navigate that life. But since we have evolved and we became that really intelligent being, we decided to make it so complicated. We decided, oh, let's make some rules, let's make some restriction and limitation and force people to try for things they don't want to. Like this, we can control them and we don't need them to go over what we know is existing and what we know we can control and benefit. But that's another subject. So knowing that everything is in alignment with what you're doing and everything is worth being celebrated. Even that one page that you read 3 months ago and you feel so bad not reading another page, but you still read one page. That's a lot. That's a lot. You thought of something and you did it. Now the amount or the value of what you did is you to decide. If you never read before and you read one page this year, good. That's amazing. That doesn't mean more or less than somebody that read 10 books. This is where you at for what your purpose is. Maybe you just need that one page. Maybe that one page was significant enough for your whole years, your whole months. And maybe somebody else, they have to read 10 books. But at the end, the section that will have been really significant for them is 2 pages of one book. But they have quantity. Sometimes we have to look at life like this. Like sometimes a lot doesn't mean a lot. Quality may convert more than quantity. That doesn't mean anything. Like you can run every day for a year and run and not having result because you're destroying your body and not taking good consumption of nutrients to keep your body in shape. And there's somebody that can run 4 years and that has more energy to do other type of exercise and make a better performance at the end. So it's always about taking care of ourselves and finding what works for ourselves. And a good way to truly get value in our doings is it's cutting the comparison factor. And a lot of comparison factor come from social media. Like, I don't care how you want to look at it. It's natural to want to compare yourself, to see somebody else doing something and wonder why we're not doing that. Even if we're trying our best to not compare, like it's such a natural way of seeing life. Like what you don't see, you cannot compare. So if you see everything, there's some part of your ego that's gonna come out and be like, see that person what is doing. If you're not doing it, you're not worthy enough, you're not good enough, you're not putting work like they're doing, etc. etc. So me personally, right now I'm cleansing from social media for like I don't know how many time the past 2 years, but now I want to make it more in the permanent side. And if I want to use it for something else like business, etc., to really like create a way for me to not get into that rabbit hole of like getting into it and starting well because you just come from a cleanse and then go back to your whole habits because the dopamine and everything that comes, the validation and the entertainment, it's easy to get trapped. It's easy to get trapped. So that's a good way to really like sit with ourselves and look at ourselves and compare ourselves with ourselves and to be able to enjoy our own vision of what success, of what productivity, of what enjoying life is. And it doesn't have to look like somebody else, and it doesn't have to be picture perfect and like a movie and so romanticized that we even wonder if we're living in the same city or the same world that other people. Like there's so much there's so much to be grateful about, there's so much to celebrate. And I think my whole channel and the subject that I'm the most inspired about is always realizing that deepness of presence, that deepness of like sitting into yourself and realizing the incredible phenomenon which is to be lived, to be alive, to experience this. And when you realize even more is that the thing outside of you becomes so not that important because they're not. They're actually not that important. Nothing outside of us is more important than this. This is incredible. This is complex. This is like the study of our lifetime, understanding the human, to understand nature, to understand the universe and physics. Like, there's so much more than just trading our aliveness for a sense of validation somewhere in our mind or in our sphere or in our family. there's so many ways of going through life that doesn't have nothing to do with securing something. Because as we know, when we were born, we are already worthy of all of this. If you're still alive right now, it's mean that you have been taken care of, protected, one way or the other. Maybe it wasn't people physically, but it was people in the spirit realm, or it was God, or it was so many things that you can think about. Like, if you're still breathing right now, it's for a reason, and that's not all you that was aware of all you were doing to taking care of yourself. There was people all around that contributed to that coming together. So that's gonna be the end of the video, and just reminding you again and again and again every day, and write it somewhere. Write it in your phone. Congratulations for making it today. Congrats. You did a great job. You deserve to celebrate yourself. You deserve a prize. You deserve to take it easy and not stress about tomorrow, because tomorrow will be another opportunity to make it a good day. And whenever you achieve that day, to take it as you achieve the greatest thing ever. That making your bed is the greatest thing ever. That taking a glass of water is the greatest thing ever. That walking around is the greatest thing ever. Anything that you are doing actively is like the most incredible thing ever. And the moment you can see those things like that, anything that supers that have more value and more value, but we can celebrate them as well. We're not always looking for the next big thing to be satisfied, or the next big prize or recognition to be confident that we're doing the right thing, right? Because if you make us feel good, if you make us feel in alignment, if you make us feel at peace, I mean, it's good. That's all that matters. Every day, if you can cultivate peace of mind, if you can cultivate healthy habits, if you can cultivate your own sense of comfort and joy, you have everything for yourself. You're good to go. There's nothing to go stress about more. It's like cultivating that space where we feel in alignment with what all we're doing, and we're not shaming or guilting ourselves for doing them, and we're not stressing and being anxious for doing them either. It's like we can be okay with resting and acting, and both being in alignment and being purpose and being fulfillment and being in pursuing whatever we want, right? So have a nice day, and see you on the next video. Bye.